Hi loves, this is BB, Cigar Saint Sister, and welcome to the first official YouTube channel. It is a beautiful Sunday, so I welcome you all to this moment of case study. Vlogoween is over, and I am relaxing in my entire being, and I'm having, at the start, a cigarillo for this first part one of the case study. And I'm having the Neos. It's called Cherry Feelings by J.C. Newman of Tampa. So I'm giving love to my city. And I hope that you all have been doing well. Tahdah Squadd, thank you so much for the love. And for all new subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing. And welcome to the Tahdah Squadd. Vlogoween was a success for me, especially filming for 2 channels. So I thought that was really, really cool. And I'm very satisfied with everything that was done. There was a lot of stuff that I wanted to do more of, but I guess that's that perfectionist, ambitious nature. But the paranormal road trips that were done, they were quite intense, and there were a lot of things that were happening in the background of those moments, but we're going to focus on the case study of Agnes of Glasgow. You can see the full film vibes on the second official YouTube channel, Cigar Saint Sister Live. And if you have subscribed there, that's really cool too. So I decompressed, and I'm still going through the decompressed stages of the whole Vlogoween because the paranormal was included, and then there were lighthearted moments. So when you have that vibe of going into the paranormal realms, you know, you do have to cleanse yourself going in, continue cleansing yourself, staying in a solid mind frame, and then cleanse yourself going out. And that does take some time because you have awakening, you know, some moments that will be of faith, is whether you believe it or not. So a backstory on Agnes of Glasgow: she transitioned and she died of illness at the age of 20. She was a Scottish woman, and she came to the Americas, stowed away on a ship, got to the Americas, came to Charleston, South Carolina. She came in search of her lover, who was serving in the war at that time in the 1700s. With miscommunication, she was told that he would be in Camden, South Carolina. So she trekked her way to Camden, became ill, she never found her lover, and she was buried in the cover of darkness, in the cloak of darkness. And where she rests is where I ventured to, where I visited. When I first arrived there, it was overcast skies. And I did feel a little intensity, but that was just because of coming upon unfamiliar ground, stepping on hollow ground, where there are many other well-knowns and war persons buried there. So it's a very old cemetery, and you just have a lot of history there, and she is a part of that history. What I do feel about Agnes is that she had to have been a very strong-willed woman. And just the opinions, my POV, she had to have some type of intelligence and some means, not necessarily just money, but the means of intelligence to go from Scotland to the Americas. And then you're just going where they say your lover is. And that has to be someone of a very determined spirit, someone who feels very strongly in their convictions. Wouldn't you think? But what was the driving force? That is the question. I feel like it had to have been more than just, I love him, I must get to him, I must be with him. There had to have been a driving factor, because a lot of women were left as their lover, their husbands, their betrothed went off to war, and that they would only pray that they would make it back so they would be reunited to start families. So then we talk about that keyword, start families. Could Agnes of Glasgow have been pregnant? There's no mention in the history of that. There's no family members at this time that wants to exhume the body, disturb the body, to do a autopsy to see if she was pregnant, or to see what exactly the illness were. I'm very sure she does have family members in Scotland. When I did do some research, I found that there were some traces of people seeing if they were related to her on Ancestry.com. So could she have been pregnant? That would be one driving force, a unwed mother, which at those times would be shamefully looked upon in a lot of societies. So that is one thing that I felt could have driven her. That would definitely be a driving force. And then to become ill and sick. But for a lot of women and a lot of people, they could look at her intensity to come here and search for a lover as foolish. No destined place. No definitive place to find him. So they had to be in some type of desperate mode to get here to stow away. As a young woman traveling alone, you can just go there with many thoughts, like what did she encounter the journey to get where she got. I felt peaceful vibes when there. Then there was this eerie wind that I did film on camera through the trees as the sky darkened even more as evening was fastly approaching. When I returned home, there was like tapping at the window. I was sitting, just relaxing, and then there was just like this tap, tap at the window, paying, and I was just like, okay. But that particular window in the home does have like different noises with it, but it was just so significant, that tapping at the window. They say that she haunts the grounds and into the forest where she would trek to get to Camden, South Carolina. So people say they would see apparitions till this day of Agnes haunting those grounds in search of her lover. It is also stated by many other writers who came and investigated and covered Agnes of Glasgow that you will become sick, under the weather after coming to her grave. I did say on film that before I headed to the grave of Agnes, to the cemetery, when I was preparing to put all the equipment and everything, you know, equipment as far as like my pocketbook and my cameras, the film and the chargers and stuff like that, as I was putting everything inside of the truck, I had this sensation of coughing and sneezing, and I was just like, Agnes. Just to lighthearted myself, not to get freaked out. And that lasted for like a minute. Then when I got there on the grounds filming, as you can see on the second official YouTube channel, I did a slight cough. The afterwards, I felt a little under the weather, and thus my throat is like a little irritated right now, but that could also be because it was overcast. It's been raining. I did get caught in the rain, so I'm sipping echinacea and ginger tea. And I have some ginger mints. But other than that, I've been just really resting myself and no big illness. So the question is, what would someone do for love? It has been shown through the ages of different timeless and infamous and famous stories, and even personal ones that we all know of. Many would do a lot for love. Many would travel for love, to be reunited or to work things out or to talk things out with a lover, both men and women. Women have such a heart of love that many times we do go the extra mile for love, to go the extra mile to work things out when things need to be worked out, until some of us may get to the fed up point, or this isn't worth it, this isn't working, so I will not try any harder. I've done everything I could possibly do. With her being so fluid and open to travel so far, I feel like she would have a lot of water signs in her chart. There's no definitive way to like even pull her chart because I don't have all the variables. But if she was a really fixed sign, she would not have traveled that far. So I see more of a fluid type yin vibes of her being. So I think that you could have restless spirits out there. It may not necessarily be hers, or it could be. There's no definitive way to say that, but those who have had eyewitness accounts, then you would just have to go on what they have documented and they have put towards the folklore of Agnes of Glasgow. So I think overall it was a very beautiful journey, a very enlightening one, and on her grave, very small stone there, as you can see in the pictures and the film footage, people leave different trinkets and flowers on her grave, and then beside her grave there is a bush, but now that we're in the fall season, it's not a blooming bush at this time. But when I looked at some other pictures of other people who visited her grave, there were, in the springtime moments, that bush right by her graveside, it blooms. So I think that's really beautiful. And as I was walking around her grave, there was another grave right there. It was unmarked, but it had stones to it. It wasn't part of a walkway to walk up to her grave because it's nothing but grass surrounding the brick encasement where her stone is, and it has the foot and the head. And it does show to me with that markings that she was very short stature in nature, a short woman, not a very tall woman. I'm going to take that out because it's finished. So I felt like that was another unmarked grave right there. So I was like, I didn't mean to step on anybody's grave. But I do feel that it's good to explore, if you will, if you're of that investigations. I didn't take any paranormal equipment. I did not take my walkie-talkie. That's the only equipment that I use other than my intuitive being. And I felt like I didn't need to go that direction because I felt much vibrations there in that graveyard, because you have so many other spirits there as well, different people who have been there. And one thing I will always say about paranormal, because you go investigate does not mean if you feel things or things are out of the loop of the norm of the living, that that could be that person. Because in life you do have good and evil spirits. The person who you're going to explore, they could be resting in peace, and it could be another spirit that's not resting in peace. So you have to keep that openness of that too. So you may have something coming through that could be on a pretentious, pretending type vibe, so you cannot say definitively. So it was really great exploring Agnes of Glasgow. It is a very cautionary tale for many people, that when you want to be full of your convictions and you want to set sail off to find someone and you don't have the right components to find them, you're going on a journey that is not definitive to lead you there, but that you hope that through all of what you're going through to get to them, that it will be something of a happy ending. And of course this wasn't a happy ending. But myself as a positive person and as a person who believes that life does go on after we leave our physical bodies, because we all are spirits, I like to think on the positive vibe as a person of a yin vibe more than a yang, even though you have to have both to coincide through life, the good, the bad, to help us through life and life journeys and life lessons. I would like to think that in the afterlife, if they both made it to the good side, that they are now reunited together. And that is a beautiful thing in itself to appreciate. This has been my case study. Maybe they are reunited in the next life, and that would be a great thing. And I thank you so much for locking in here with me for this case study of Agnes of Glasgow. If you are in those areas, or if you would just like to learn more or go visit the resting place, that would be great, because there's a lot of history out there, not only hers but others to explore. Thank you so much for locking in. More vibes to come right here. I'm BB, Cigar Saint Sister, and thanks so much for the love.